Welcome back, everybody, to another Thinking Out Loud. Should we have checked if it was still recording, just to be sure, just to keep you at ease? Here, let me double check.
Yeah, please double check.
While we're still recording.
We have to double check because we're trying to make this as good of a show as possible for you, the audience.
Yeah, it's a good point because then we're gonna be putting up a 3-point system camera, right? One in the middle, this one.
Yeah.
One looking here at me, and then the other one looking at you.
Yeah.
Every time we talk, it'll switch between us. That would be nice.
And from time to time, it's going to zoom in on my little bald spot right here. It's just going to go "Meow" when I say some dumb shit.
When we get
That's the plan.
When we get some nice 8K cameras, we'll be like, you'll be able to see all this beautiful golden ratio. But look, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and call me out because, look, I feel bad. Last week I haven't put up. So the episode. This is episode 21.
21, yeah.
But I didn't put up last week's episode yet because, but I'll put it up by the time you see this. It was just because I was not happy with the fact that I botched the video. It wasn't necessarily. It was just I didn't realize my phone was gonna I have a spare phone that I use to record this. Right, we record this on my Galaxy Note 9. So we're not.
Yeah, I mean, you work with your budget.
Yeah, it works. So I have a spare phone, and that one updates ever so often through my carrier, and it just happens to be updating the moment we're recording. After I get back from my sabbatical, I had such a nice time. I was in such a good mood. It's still a good episode, a really good episode, I think, because we hit on a lot of good things, like shit going on with Governor Cuomo at the time. Motherfucker resigned. He's he needs to do jail time for the nursing home deaths. I mean, minus the sexual harassment. The dude killed thousands of people, maybe millions, due to the legislation he put in place for immunities for corporations who own these private health companies that supply health workers and stuff. They all had immunity. So a lot of places where this immunity took place, people died because these business practices killed people.
I mean, yeah, but the other thing is they're essential workers. Without them,
right?
Everybody's dying. It's not just sick people.
I think if they were more responsible about those business practices, they would put the healthline workers first. But if you keep up with our show, I'm always talking smack about the 1%. Those motherfuckers care about the bottom line in many places.
Which is what?
The bottom line is their profit margins, how much money they can squeeze out of the labor force that they have. If you can send 100 nurses to one area, but then you got to split them up or something. I don't know how it works. There's, these people try to stretch the human body as far as it can when it comes to labor. And this is true. If you remember in the episode previous to this one, if you go listen to it, we talked a little bit about the Frito-Lay workers. I don't want to get into it too much because it's a new week. We're going to talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
But the Frito-Lay workers were on strike because they had really horrible working conditions, bad, real bad. Then the BlackRock Corporation is this huge supervillain corporation that you would think isn't real, but they have their hand in everything, and they're buying up all the homes across America. They want you to be a renter. They don't want you to be an owner. It's not much of a conspiracy theory when you think about the idea of owning a home, owning a piece of land in America. A lot of it is privatized.
We're about to start living in Gotham. Yeah.
We're about to start. It'll be like China. We just live on top of each other in little boxes,
There it is.
Yeah.
That's fucking scary. But yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing, Nick? We caught up last week.
Yeah.
You are back at your old spot?
I'm back at my old job. I don't have the same job title, unfortunately, but you live and you learn, and I think this time around I'm doing it a lot more, being a lot more responsible with my job and understanding the limits that I can go to.
The limits that you can go to. He was telling me he had to tell somebody off the other night. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe at the end of the day the customer is right. But also at the same time, treat others how you want to be treated. And we're all human at the end of the day. I don't give a shit how much money you make, what you look like. What are the other things people usually talk about?
I don't know.
Your education. I don't care about none of that shit.
Yeah, the flexes.
At the end of the day, especially when you come to my job, right? You should come to me with respect. And I'm going to come to you with respect as well.
It's just a matter of being respectful to employees that work at places like with like what is it? Hospitality services.
Hospitality
Hospitality
services.
services, bro. Like being hospitality is just that. You got to be nice to
Can
people.
I could touch on that real quick though. I don't know what it is. I mean, obviously, you know, we've all been in quarantine for a long time.
Feels like it.
Been about 2 years now, somewhere around there.
For those people who stayed inside, yeah.
Exactly. So it's been about 2 years now, right? And I guess so many people have pent up aggression that within the last 2 weeks at my job, I have seen about 3 fights.
Really?
3 fights amongst adults. I'm talking about like 35 to 40-year-olds.
Bro.
Fist fighting. And I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with you people?
I could piggyback off that idea real quick.
Go ahead.
If we lived in a utopia where everything and anything we needed was met, we would be so bored out of our minds that we would start cutting ourselves just to make something happen. Sorry, go back.
That's an interesting thought.
So go back. So these people who've been fighting, because if they've been up to nothing, all they've been doing is ordering Uber Eats, Amazon, To Go, Fresh To Go, whatever the fucking box subscription you have. It was a literal fucking cyberpunk world for a moment. For those people who literally stayed inside, worked remotely, had like these 6-figure jobs, didn't have to do shit. Literally, maybe you didn't even have to leave your door to get groceries.
So here's the problem, right? Is when you put liquor into somebody's body, you know, there's 2 things that wants to happen. You either want to fight or you want to fuck. That's proven. Like,
or
this
cry.
Is
People
what
cry
happens.
when you get drunk.
They what?
They cry, sing.
Yeah, but your emotions hiding. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sure.
Your emotions hiding, your hormones hiding, whatever. Right? So my theory is that, what did I say? I said fight or fuck. Yeah.
Fight or fuck.
Instead of these people wanting to fuck because they're sick of this shit, because they've been with their significant other for 2 years in lockdown, and that's pretty much what they've done consistently at this point, right? That's how you keep the peace in the household or whatever.
Wait, what?
You have to have sex. Sex is a major part of keeping peace in your household if you are in a relationship.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, sex is important.
And anyone who says sex is not important, you're lying to yourself. Like,
it's true, bro.
Why do you think that people cheat? Because they're not being satisfied, their needs aren't being met, right?
And sex is one of those needs.
Sex is one of those needs.
You can buy her as many Gucci flip-flops as you want. But at the end of the day,
if you're buying her Gucci flip-flops, I hope she cheats on you. Those shits are so ugly, dog. So ugly.
Praise be. Praise be. Future first.
Anyways, point being is they have alcohol in their system and they want to feel like the tough guy. And I understand it. We've all been there.
Yeah. It's happened.
I mean, I believe we've all been there. I've definitely been there.
You say we, but like, that's you, B.
Yeah, you're right. You're
That's
right.
you,
And I do.
Nah, but I've done it
I
too.
do believe to a certain extent, anytime that you feel like you need to be physically involved with another individual that's not in the explicit way, right? Like in the way where you want to hurt them.
What? What are you saying?
Yeah, no. I'm not talking about like no BDSM shit. All right, chill out.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying, if you want to fight someone, it's usually because you have some pent up aggression or you have some inner demons that you're fighting when you're on alcohol.
When you're on alcohol.
Because they say when you have alcohol in your system, your true intentions, your true feelings come out, right?
Why did they say true? Like,
because check it.
Okay.
If you're a shy ass guy and you put some alcohol into your system, all of a sudden you got the biggest dick in the room, and you're like, "Yo, liquid courage is a very real thing." It is. If you have liquid courage, if you have liquid inside of you, and you think this woman is a 10, this woman's an 8, this woman's a 7, the first person you're going to see is the 10, and you will approach them because now you feel like it's different. In your mind, you're like, "I got this shit. I ain't nervous no more." It's light work.
So I do think, look, liquid courage is a thing, but I don't think like I need alcohol. I see what you're saying. Some dudes do have that like sigma alpha male bullshit going on with them. I mean, there is this level of like, there are some dudes who just evoke a presence more manlier than you, and maybe alcohol can help you reach that level, but it's only temporary. So I don't necessarily believe that just because you're drinking alcohol and you get to a certain point that you are your true feelings come out. No, I think like if you are in line
Mm-hmm.
with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and you know who you are, like
Mm-hmm.
you've integrated your shadow. Shout out to Carl Jung. You know what I'm saying? Like then I don't think that like every time you drink, you should be in a heightened sense of like, aggression or, if your libido, you're trying to just fuck, like, okay, maybe I guess that's a thing. Maybe you just haven't had sex in a long time and you're in heat. But I don't
Right.
necessarily agree that like just because you're drinking alcohol, you're ready to fight or you're like the biggest dick in the room or you're ready to prove that you're the biggest guy in the room. Because, yes, before.
I mean, it matters as to which individual. But here's the
Yeah.
thing. I actually agree with you
Yeah.
as someone who, wasn't really comfortable with myself for a very, very long time.
Uh-huh.
And I think I wanted to put on this different persona for my environment, people around me, myself, really, just to trick myself into believing like I'm this completely different person. I'm now content. I used to think like I'm going to be the dude who makes $1 million and then I'm going to make $1 billion. Like I used to think that I was like a special person. Like I am
You had
the
a chip on your
1%.
shoulder. You had a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, no, not really chip, because I mean, we could all be the 1%, quote unquote, right?
Well-
but I used to truly believe that I was destined for greatness, and I don't know if
Why'd
it's
you stop
like,
believing that?
So here's the thing,
I
right?
still do.
I don't know if it's
What?
like, because I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm depressed anymore, but I think I just kind of came to a reality with my life, and I'm like, okay, I can achieve this, I can achieve that, but I can't achieve this, and I can't achieve that. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing? I mean,
Do you guys want?
yeah. Are you going to use the room?
Well, yeah,
Whatever.
we'll be done soon. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So, yeah. So we just had some guests come in into our studio.
Ooh. I was about to ask them to join us, but I was like, nah, we gotta finish this between us.
Well, I have a whole girlfriend, so I
Right,
don't know where your
right,
intentions
right.
are going with
Sorry,
that, sir.
sorry. I'm like, dude, I forget this man is not on the market anymore. Because like, as a man who's come into his own, like I say that with like very little, with much confidence in myself.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
thought you were talking about me. I was about to say thank you. I appreciate that.
oh well, that too. I'm so sorry. That too. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, I feel good about myself and like being not tied down. I'm not gonna say that. I'm sorry. That's so stupid. Tied down, because then that implies that I think that you're tied down, and that's not the case. No, I'm very happy that he's dating. Dating is healthy. It's a healthy part of life. If you aren't doing it, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think
But-
tied down is a bad way of looking
it's
at
a bad
it.
way of looking at it because you're
It's
not
like
tied down.
it's such a negative
Yeah.
way of looking
That's why
at
I
it.
caught myself right away, because I was like, yo, like that's not what it is. You're
Yeah.
not tied down. Like if I thought like that, it would assume that I feel like you shouldn't be in a relationship because there's so many other options out there. It's like, no, that's not the case.
Right.
You're allowed to be with someone you like, and well, that's just a matter of monogamy. But
Yeah.
let's get back to what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
so back to what I was talking about
Yeah.
before, we got a little thrown off. I was just saying that I think that I actually agree with you, because now that I'm much more comfortable in my skin, and I'm like, I'm trying to teach a couple of my younger friends this,
Mhm.
is that like you don't need to overdrink to prove that you're like someone better, or that like,
Unless you're Mexican.
Nah, I still don't agree with that.
It's just a cultural thing. Like
Yeah,
the
but-
Irish love to drink.
And I'm both. I'm Irish and Mexican.
Then
But I don't see. But here's the thing, right?
That's
Is
fu-
where
no,
I
it makes sense now that when
believe-
you drink, you want to fight. That makes sense. Oh my! I didn't realize the Irish and the Mexicans have a lot in common. I think they helped each other out in the war.
They did.
Right? They did.
They actually
it
did. Yeah.
makes sense. No wonder you're angry
That's-
and want to fight all the time. And you have
There
such a
it
short
is.
fuse. It's beautiful. Mexican Irishman. That's beautiful. Okay, so go ahead. Go.
Yeah.
off, King.
So I was just,
You're like the-
look,
you're the
at the
most-
end of the
uh-huh.
day, I think that when you are truly comfortable in your skin,
Yeah.
and I feel like we as people, as we're growing up in this society, as much as we say that we're like being honest with ourselves, we're really not. Like, we're creating excuses, and we're consistently lying about like, oh, okay, I'm doing fine here, I'm doing this, and the thing is, like, it becomes a white lie essentially, And once you're caught in it and you're really like caught in that shit with your environment, you're like, oh man, like this is not the person that I want to be. And the thing is, our brain is so fucking smart that the more you lie, the more you start to believe your lie. Like you will actually create a scenario in your mind that this happened.
Yeah. Some people who double down on these lies, bro, they see it all the way through.
Yep.
And it destroys them because I don't know what it is.
This is the one time.
This comes from this. I'm a good liar.
This is the one time you don't got to see it through, my boy. You don't.
Yeah. I grew up as a child lying all the time. So I've like developed an art for lying, but I understand now the power of truth. And a lot of the time, just being able to tell the truth and being honest is like one of the best adventures you can embark on. And if you look at it like that, I think, you'll really find out like who you are in some sense. But I wanted to segue away from that because I wanted to talk about a little more serious topic because we are relevant on this motherfucking show,
There it is.
We pulled out of a 20-year-old war.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And now look what's happening.
The homie Biden, the homie Joe. You remember how I used to call him?
It's not Sleepy Joe no more?
He's not Sleepy Joe no more. This is the homie, bro. He's the homie Biden. And look.
What changed?
Oh, let me tell you what changed, bro. This man said the buck stops with me. All right, look. My criticisms of him still stand. I don't think he's lived up to many of the promises he made on his campaign. Many of them were progressive, just fell flat. Student debt is a place where he could just snap his fingers and really just get rid of all of it. Now, I want to just
I don't agree with that. But go on.
It's not a matter of whether you agree or not. He does have the executive power. It was Lyndon B. Johnson who signed this bill. I don't know the exact details of it, but I know what I'm talking about enough to know that Biden, you could fact check this, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He could just erase all of student debt like
fact
that.
check this motherfucker.
Fact check me.
He's trying
bro.
to disrespect me. You
want
to fight, motherfucker?
I don't. I don't give a flying rat's tail. Look, and so look, this is great because Biden he gave a speech over the past 2 days, basically saying like, what is the point of being in another country that doesn't fight for themselves? Now, maybe that's a bit like, like we can't expect them. We trained the Taliban back in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. We trained Osama bin Laden. We killed him in 2011. Mm-hmm. Why were we still there for the next 9 years? Why?
Oil.
Let me answer that for you. We were there protecting their poppy fields, right? Because they make the best heroin on earth. Mm-hmm. The best heroin. To the point where Dr. Carl Hart was like, yeah, if you can get some heroin from Afghan, fuck it. Try a little bit of it. Like you should, as an adult, heroin is made to seem like a bad drug. It's not what people think it is. It was first used as a painkiller, and like if you look at what's going on in Afghan, the only reason we were there was a matter of imperialistic geopolitical standings. Like it's a place with rich minerals. It's got what is it? Fucking, what was I just saying about it?
Poppy.
The poppy fields. We would protect those fields, right? We would defend those fields with our soldiers. Dude, if you look at some of the recent videos on Twitter, I think I sent you one. These guys, they're just, it doesn't matter that they took over the U.S. bases, no big deal, because they spent trillions of, 2 trillion, like it's like been 6 trillion or 2 trillion or something in the past 2 decades. That's just the money. We're not thinking about the cost of lives. We're not thinking about the cost of our soldiers, the people that come home and they think that they're defending us from terrorists or like, fucking jihadists. They're not ISIS. They're not Al Qaeda, right?
I mean, there might be some sprinkle in there, but
yeah, right,
it's not fully.
Right. There's like maybe less than 300 people of Al Qaeda agents or whatever, and there's like only like fucking this number like 250, 300K Taliban soldiers, but those people were trained and we armed them. Like all of our money, all that wealth just got kind of transferred over to them. There was people we put in power, like these war chiefs, these warmongers, who happened to have child sex slaves, right? It was just kept under the radar. The quiet part was never said out loud. Like you can check all of this. Something called the Afghan Papers a couple years ago. If you asked anybody why we were in Afghanistan, they could not give you a single reason why. You ask the news, they would not tell you why. They just tell you this is happening in Afghan. But how many people actually know why we're there? Do you even remember when?
I mean, that's usually kept top secret within the military.
Right, the military-industrial complex, right? This idea of compartmentalizing information between departments so that it's a need-to-know basis. It is fascinating to me that we've made it this far. There's this chilling, it's one of our previous presidents. It might have been Lyndon B. Johnson. I could be wrong, but basically, they tried to warn us about the military-industrial complex. This idea of having forever wars. The profit that you make off war is so much.
Yeah.
The past 20 years have been nothing but profit for these people. Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, all these aviation companies, these military contractors, bro, made bank while the little guys didn't get bailed out. We had a fucking Wall Street crash, right? They got bailed out. And then you see what's going on now. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you hear one thing and then you hear another. You think that pulling out of Afghanistan is a bad idea because the people, how are they going to defend themselves? It's like, okay, we've been there for 20 years. What are you going to do? You want to stay for another 5? You want to stay for another year? What is that going to do? They took back the city with no resistance within days. 78 hours, like 74 hours they did it. No
The
resistance.
Taliban.
Yeah, no resistance. They just walked in. They took pictures. They took photos. They're in the gym working out using the elliptical, fucking playing. You know that thing that you pull down?
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys was just like hanging from it and shit.
The lat pull down?
The lat pulled down. He was just playing with it, bro. Motherfuckers are wearing sandals. Well, I saw some dude in Oxfords. I'm like, those are nice. This is really nice Oxfords.
What is the point of this?
The point is that, like, people right now are trying to find a reason why we shouldn't leave Afghanistan. Women's rights.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
It's like, are you kidding me?
No.
Saudi
Okay,
Arabia is our top ally, and those motherfuckers don't let women drive. Don't even let them leave the house without a fucking permission slip, without a hall pass.
The fear is that,
Go.
As far as women rights go, the fear is that if they are still, or not still, but if they come back into power because we don't have troops there to defend the areas, right? That Sharia law will come back into play.
That's their fucking business, bro. They don't want to bomb the U.S. They're not ISIS. They just want their land. They just want their country back. Now, I don't know the full extent.
But you really are stripping women of their rights.
Well, then let's stop giving money to Saudi Arabia, who's funding the Syrian army, who's committing genocide, right? Like, I'm not trying to make a what if argument about, oh, what if this, what if that. The idea is that, like, people, and I am disagreeing with you on the idea that, like, if anybody says that if leaving will cause women's rights to go back like 50, 100 years, it's like, that's not the point. It's like, we were there for 20 years. What was the point after 2011 when Obama got bin Laden, right? For the next 9 years, what do we do? What plan? And then all of a sudden, people think it's a shock that the Taliban just walked in over the last 20 years. All that just went away, like all that work and effort. It's like, yeah, because we were lied to all the time. Never once did they talk about the death tolls that the Afghan citizens had, or the amount of soldiers that we lost, or the amount of times that we were involved in our own friendly fire situations. It is ridiculous, right? And there's so much going on. Like, how the fuck do you care about everything going on in the world? Like, there's so much to care about.
Yeah,
How do we pick and choose?
You can't.
What do you think?
That's why we have big
so
news headlines.
So desensitized to violence that how do we, like, the climate is changing, right? Like, if we're not being climate conscious, we're killing ourselves, then it's like,
I mean, I don't know, like, when I think about being desensitized to violence, I think more of, like, it matters what kind of violence. Like, if we're talking straight to death, I'm very desensitized to that because I'm like, technically we weren't even supposed to live past like 30. So
at the time, yeah, malnutrition, but we've like developed. I like how you brought that up because we've come so far as a civilization that I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, I heard this idea that at the end of a civilization, gender becomes like a huge topic. Like, this idea that gender becomes fluid, like we start losing a sense of self or something. I don't know, that it's like a sign of the end of civilization. Like,
and that's what you're saying is happening right now?
Nah, I think it's just like a funny, like, drawing, like, just random connections between things that, like, seem like maybe we're just repeating history. Like I hate like people.
I believe we are consistently repeating history.
Just
I've
in different eras of technology or what?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I'm like a wacko when it comes to, believing in like a different universe and aliens and all that. But
Well, they exist because they told us they do.
they for sure do.
But nobody gives a fuck, right? Because there's so much else going on in the
But
world.
see, here's the thing, right? Is I think that what we do as humans, right, and we still haven't figured out. See, this is where I'm going to sound like a whack job. But basically, I believe I was kind of like I'm iffy about it, but it makes sense, right? So here's the thing, that we as humans are consistently destroying each planet that we go to, right? But that's why in each planet that we go to, we have kind of this same, what do you
Cycle
call it?
of evolution?
Yeah, we have the same cycle because at the end of the day, where we got all this knowledge from of like technology and trying this and doing that, like if you believe in evolution and how we came from, little tiny fucking, what was it, monkeys or some shit like that?
Well, we evolved from like micro like bacteria or like from this ooze.
Yeah.
And then we were
And
like,
we've
we were
just-
originally water like.
Right, and
a
that's not
vertebrae, like,
that's not so crazy to think about. Like at the end of the day, right, when you're in your mother's womb, you technically are
both genders at one point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that what you were gonna say?
No, I was just saying more of like you technically are this like little thing. So how you become a human is fascinating to me. But
That is true.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think about where like, what if when you die you go back to another cycle of life, but not this life on Earth. Like what if you become another species, unknown species, alien, whatever you believe,
I don't know, man.
and it just keeps repeating,
If that's look, I feel like if that was just it, that was the answer, then I would be more curious as to how these physics work. Like how the fuck is my essence reborn?
Right.
I'd be more interested in the science and the physical of it, because there's so much we know that we know that we don't know about our own reality, that it's like there are these theories that are trying to explain how we come to exist, how we exist, because like if you question the reality, like
because it makes no sense.
Look,
Like at the end of the day,
okay,
right, when a mom and a dad create a child, first off, none of us asked to be born.
What do you mean none of them?
Besides being the one swimmer that got there somehow, we didn't ask to be born. We didn't know that we were being born. Did you know you were being born?
But the thing is that you don't choose to be born.
No, apparently you do if you're swimming out of one in a fucking however many it is.
See, but it has to be like that because it's part of our biological and anatomical whatever the fuck way of existing, because we have to squirt out like all these sperm and make sure that one of them gets there, because like bro, like we need to survive and we need these children to grow up and live on, and maybe they'll take care of us, we'll take care of them until they're old enough and shit like that. Like
right. So what happens if we just stop having children?
There's gonna be a show about that soon.
Really?
Oh wait, no, there is one. It's called Children of Men. It's a movie. It's a really good. Have you not seen it? Children of Men?
Negative.
Ooh, we gotta watch it when we get a chance. Children of Men. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Basically, the premise is that women have stopped getting pregnant. No one has been born for like almost 100 years, right? And then it's only like the youngest person on Earth is like a celebrity, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like 16, 17, 19, and there's like this. It starts off with like him. I think he kills himself because of the pressure of being like the youngest person.
Okay.
And then the movie, they find out that there is somebody out there who might have like a cure, right? Or like the key to whatever is going on with women not getting, or no more children being born.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a really good movie. Really good movie if you haven't checked it out. I forget who directed it. I should know the name of the director.
See, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, what if that became the case? And so now we all just die off. Do you think the planet would create itself again?
Create itself? No, I think it's self-sustaining. Like, who the fuck cares about climate change if nobody's around? Like, climate change is only climate change.
That's what I'm saying. Climate change wouldn't happen.
No, climate change is a naturally occurring thing on Earth. It's just how as humans
but
we accelerating. Yeah,
we're accelerating.
we're accelerating the process, right? That something is irreversible. Well, there are places on Earth that are just too harsh for humans to live, and we want to
like
go
New
live
Zealand.
and we want to go live on Mars. Yeah, you can bring New Zealand up. And we want to go live on Mars, and motherfuckers are complaining that we can't live on Earth. Like, I get it. There is water on Mars, but it's frozen, and like most of it is in the polar caps or whatever. But what did you want to say about New Zealand?
So you just said that there's places on Earth that's hard to live or something like that. Yeah. So in New Zealand right now, this shit's kind of crazy, but they actually just went into full shutdown because of one COVID case. Just one.
Oh, we're gonna talk about COVID.
One COVID case.
Okay.
So it just goes to show you, like.
But what are your thoughts? Like, why is the government shutting down the whole place for just one person?
I think it's fucking brilliant.
Really?
Yeah, I think if we would have done that from the jump, we would have never needed a lockdown.
That is a lockdown.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, now it can't spread.
I don't understand. Why don't we just kill
one person?
Why don't we just kill the people who have it? Like, if they had it at first, like, go to the firing squad. Hail Stalin! Long live Stalin! Boom.
So, anyways, they shut down New Zealand because of the fact that they believe that the COVID that is in this person is the Delta variant.
Just
so
shoot
they
them.
don't want.
New Zealand. Do they have guns in New Zealand?
No, actually, it's against the law.
Okay, whoever has a gun, somebody stab him. Kill this motherfucker. All right. If he got the Delta and y'all are good, kill him. Like, why?
But so check it. Here's the other thing.
Stupid asses. Go ahead.
Only 20% of New Zealand's population is vaccinated.
20%. New Zealand has got to be a small place, right?
I don't know how many people live there.
What's 20% of their population? Just send them to the gulag. Fuck it. Like, this is you're taking too damn long. You want to fix this shit?
No, that are vaccinated, 20%.
That's what I'm saying.
So 80%.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
80% of people have to go to the gulag by that.
Yeah.
That's
80% is too much.
That's too damn much.
I don't think they have that much of a big population is what I'm saying.
I mean, they're still in the hundreds of thousands for sure.
Yeah. Well, Stalin killed millions, so it's possible. We could do it. We could probably do it. We could do it well. Like, if make sure everyone's still alive when they get there. Don't shoot them until they're done digging the graves, because then it's easier to do that like that. I recently saw this movie, The Death of Stalin. It's my favorite fucking movie. It's so good. That's why I'm making all these Stalin jokes.
I just can't believe they shut down the entire fucking not area, like the whole fucking place.
We should invade New Zealand. That makes sense. We tried to put democracy in Afghan. What the fuck is New Zealand thinking? Look at America, right? Like, they can't tell us what to do, right?
So they're planning to go in lockdown for an entire week in that area, New Zealand.
Oh, okay. You're looking it up right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're planning to go in for an entire week. An entire week.
What the fuck, dude?
The whole New Zealand, but specifically the other places, like what did it say? The rest of the country will be on lockdown for 3 days.
Okay, 3 days is fine. It's
3 days is not bad. But this is my point. Why didn't we do this to begin with? We could have nipped this shit in the bud so fast.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
The government isn't honest with us. They can't just tell us, hey, go outside, get some sun, get some fucking vitamin D in you. Go, change your diet, people. We understand we put a lot of fucking sugar in these drinks. Our food is oversized. Bro, in Mexico, there are warning labels on shit that has too much sugar. That's awesome. Right? Because, bro, our biggest issue in America is obesity.
Do you know why there's warning labels in Mexico?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's no other there's like, when it comes to other nutritious options in certain places, the access to fresh produce or fresh food is, I would say, not very common, because the cuisine there doesn't revolve around like greens and stuff.
Right.
It revolves more around like goat meat, stews, corn, and and beans, right?
So
Oh, and nopales. What is it? Cacti?
I don't know.
Nopales, yeah.
I've never had
They're really
cacti.
good. They're really good. It's a Mexican,
So I get where you're going with that, but I have a
Uh-huh.
different take on that
Okay,
as to
go.
why they have the sugar labels.
Okay.
So this is a proven fact. Don't be
Proven
like he's
fact?
racist.
Proven fact.
Yeah, proven fact.
What does that mean? Proven fact.
In
Is it a fact?
It
'Cause a
is.
fact is already proven.
No,
you don't have
it
to
is.
Say, you don't have to say proven fact.
You're right. It's
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
Suck my dick. That's a fact too.
Go.
Anyways, in minority groups, right?
Uh-huh.
They have much higher health issues
Yes, that is true.
because of why?
Stats. Just the matter of like certain inner city places
Mhm.
don't exactly have the most access to fresh produce. I think there's also this correlation with
Genetics.
that and the like the socioeconomic status of of one's situation, because
Okay.
I always think of like the single mothers or the parents who fall on hard times, whatever the case may be in a situation like that. Like, you really never know, and I can understand when somebody just does not have the energy to make meal for their 3 children, then make a meal for themselves, let alone have enough money to make a meal for everybody.
Yeah.
And what is that just for today? What about for tomorrow?
Right.
The next day? And then, maybe your kids need lunch at school, sure, there's programs and stuff, but I really do sympathize, and I'm really happy like that we have social service programs, like social programs like that help families in need who really do use it for the benefit of it. And it shows that people do really use it for what they need.
Yeah.
And,
Of course.
I just I just think to myself, I'm like, okay, like the idea of fast food it's just cheaper. You can feed everybody for a lot less, and if
Is it that cheaper though? I'm gonna be
It
honest.
is,
Like
it is.
nowadays, fast food's fucking expensive, dude.
look, it's really a matter of like,
I think it's cheaper in the terms that
it's
you'd
like
get more spices like inside of the food, like bang for your buck wise, right?
uh-huh.
But if you were to actually cook food at home, I think that's cheaper nowadays.
Look, it's one thing to say, yeah, just cook at home, cook all your meals, like go work harder, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But like, being an adult, as part of adulting, like, I'm like, yeah, I could cook myself a meal every fucking day, but I don't enjoy doing it. Like, yeah, I get it.
Because
Cook
with
yourself
fast food, you pay for convenience.
correct, and that's
Yeah,
what
I
that's
understand
that's the
that.
issue with with the health in America. Our obesity is the number one cause of death in America, and that says something, right? Because and it's never talked about in the news, but the moment COVID fucking hits, everybody's dying. And then you see these fucking stories, bro, of like people who died. They're like, oh, this young person died, this person died. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, damn well what you're doing in mainstream corporate media. Like, you're trying to build up this idea that young people who are relatively healthy can get it and die. That's not the case. Yes, you can. Yes, it is very contagious, but
I mean, you can.
they don't talk about the recovery rate, the rate at which people are actually like getting back to normalcy through diet change, health, like, lifestyle changes. Like, a sedentary lifestyle is not good. If you're just sitting around all the time, you're not putting in the effort to exercise, to at the very minimum, like, be more conscious of your actions when it comes to your health, then why? Maybe you're like, well, it's not the government's job to tell me how to live my fucking life. Okay, then why are they mandating us masks in places that it doesn't make sense? Why are they bringing us back and forth from a place where it's like, okay, you eat outside, you don't. You eat outside, but it's fucking snowing. Oh, it's snowing? Okay, we're going to put up these little huts for you guys to eat outside of the restaurant. It's like, That was a year ago. Look where we are now. The mainstream media cannot hold on to it anymore. They're just trying so hard, shoving all these case numbers. Those case numbers have nothing to do with hospitalization, infection rate, and recovery rate. Right? If you get infected, your chances, and you have the vaccine and you get infected, your chances of dying or being hospitalized are so damn low that it's not even worth calling up your primary doctor or going to the emergency room for a cough and a sniffle, because you can exhibit these symptoms, be asymptomatic, and you'll be just fine.
Are you vaccinated?
I am not. I am not anti-vax. I am totally open to the idea of getting it. I think you should get it if you don't have it, and I think if you're a much older person, you should, because it does help, and it shows that it helps prevent you getting it, and you're more likely to survive.
So why aren't you vaccinated?
Because I am a big believer in the idea that if you are a young, healthy person, and it is a choice, right? Because the government is not telling us to get it on purpose. It is a choice. I will get it if it's necessary for me to do something. Like, I'm not...
Do you believe you're a young, healthy person?
I believe I am young and healthy, and that if I got sick, I could stave it off. I could fight it off, because I know my body well enough when I get sick. I don't know if this makes any difference, but speaking personally from my own experience, when I was younger, getting sick for me was like, I would feel like, okay, if I'm going to get sick, I don't really like taking medicine. Maybe I'll take a little bit and have my body fight off the rest of it. And I grew up Mexican, so like having a Sprite and some caldo like was the best medicine you could get, you know? And like fighting off that infection for me, like only getting the medicine that was necessary. I got all my booster shots, all my vaccine shots. You know, you got to get those when you go to school.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, I believe in the vaccine, that it works. But because it's a choice, and if it's unnecessary to get it, which unfortunately the mainstream media doesn't talk about, like, hey, like if you're healthy, you're good, it's up to you. But for people over the age of like X, 50 or something, like if you're immunocompromised or you are in some situation where you can't, like, you know, you have to be more conscious of your health because you have a disease, then yes, I would understand, you know, you getting it and you being maybe a little cynical of people who don't.
So what happens if you do get it?
What do you mean?
If you were to get
COVID?
Yeah.
I would just get sick. I don't know. What do you mean? Like if I got sick and then like
what happens if you were to get it and,
I think maybe
it's
I've
a
had it
lot
already.
harder than you thought it was?
Well,
And even though you're a healthy young individual, which by the way, COVID has clearly mutated because now we have the Delta variant. And this was my biggest fear because of, respectfully, but people like you that believe that it was going to be okay because, you know, they're young and healthy. It is mutating to destroy your young and health.
dude, who told you this? Where did you read this? Because it sounded like verbatim you heard it from CNN or fucking...
This is not
MSNBC.
CNN, motherfucker. This is logic. What do you mean? It's going
Logic.
to mutate.
How do you logically explain to somebody
that it's going to mutate?
No, that because you didn't get vaccinated,
Right.
it is your fault for the Delta variant. How do you logically explain
No,
it to
no, no.
somebody?
I'm not saying it's your fault.
No, I know, but like for
I
people-
mean, I was saying that it is most of the people's fault who didn't get vaccinated.
See,
then
the
yeah.
problem is that we aren't experts in the fields of virology, that I only know enough to say that, like,
But in the field of virology, that's how things mutate.
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, like,
That's
that
what
is the
I'm trying
case.
to
That is
say.
the case. That is the case that viruses do mutate over time, and it could be possible that it'll become vaccine resistant. Okay, well,
Well, it's not like it can become possible. It will become that way.
well,
No, it will.
no, because
No,
If
it will.
okay, why do we get the flu? Why do they recommend you get a flu shot every year?
I don't get a flu shot
No, why I'm asking you, why do they do that? I know the answer to this. It's you just said it.
because it mutates.
Correct. So we're just gonna go get a booster shot, which will be optional. They don't mandate you get the flu shot, and people die from it. I'm not comparing the flu to the COVID thing.
Yeah,
I'm
don't do
comparing-
that
I'm
because that's going
comparing-
to piss off
I'm not
some
comparing. Yeah, I'm
people.
not comparing the symptoms. What I'm comparing is in the way that we're being led to believe that it is way worse than it really is.
It is way worse than it really
I don't
is.
believe that. I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be the zombie apocalypse. Like we were gonna be
Well, see,
fighting for
that's
supplies
because
and
you're
shit.
an idiot.
No, but isn't that what the case was at first?
No,
We all thought.
I
you
mean,
didn't think
yeah,
that?
like
The
look,
long ass fucking
there
lines.
there were people who were out here hauling
wiping their ass
shit
all day and shit?
Yes, there were people like that
and there are
for
people
sure.
who still think that.
That it's going to be a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's like a small people, like amount
there
of people.
probably is a small amount of people, but they also need to understand that we are coming back into, normalcy. Like, we
Yeah.
really are.
And see,
But-
these booster shots, I think, is a way to try and convince us, like, when they start talking about it, like, I'm sure if you haven't already heard about it, they're trying to get these approved. So it'll every year it'll just be like, oh, like, we recommend that you get your booster shot before you come into work, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. It'll be like, okay, yeah, whatever. The idea is that, like, if someone chooses not to get it and, like, the other option is getting tested, fine, test me. If I'm positive, fuck it, I'm positive. I'll stay home. I'll fight it off because, again, we've all agreed.
The
as a
problem is that
society-
so many people believe that they would fight it off, and they ended up dying.
Because those fuckers were either obese, had heart issues, diabetes. I'm not saying all of them did.
Yeah, see, but that's what it sounds like you're saying. Like, it's
But it is
it's
true,
much.
though.
Yeah, a good majority for sure, but it's not every single case.
Yeah, I feel you. It's
And
not
that's where it becomes so hard.
the thing is that we don't
Because it's
fucking-
like you don't even know. Look,
Okay, why do we build
you
handicap ramps?
You understand that we're gonna
Yeah.
that you would have symptoms if you had COVID, right?
Correct, yes.
But you don't actually know how healthy your body. When was the last time you had a physical?
That's a good point. I don't
Exactly. like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
don't
you're-
actually know.
See, that's the
until
thing.
you
Like,
get
am I
fucked
gonna
over.
live? But am I gonna live in fear of that? Like, am I a little afraid that maybe if I get it, because my stupid ass is naive? Yeah. But see, the thing is that
You're
I'm-
willing to deal with those consequences.
Yeah, because if I pretend to be scared, which it does, like, yeah, I don't blame you if you're like a little fearful of like the idea that fuck, if you get it, you might not be able to survive it because you don't know any better and you're not aware of your own health. I think like if I get it and I'm like aware that I'm positive, because most people might get it and not even realize they're positive. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'll take my chances because I understand a little bit about health and diet and like, my vitamin intake or whatever the necessary things you need for sustaining fucking protection or whatever. Because I've heard about people who apparently have such a strong immune system that they have to take immunosuppressants.
Yeah.
Right. What do you do with those people who can't get the vaccine?
I don't know.
Why do we build handicap ramps if there's barely any amount of handicapped people around?
It's not a barely amount.
Okay, then
There's
that's
a
the
lot
case.
of people that are handicapped in ways that you wouldn't even like. Handicap is not just paralyzation.
So check it. They've made a law, right?
Okay.
You can't build a building without what?
Without a handicap
Even if there's no
or
handicapped people living in
ramp
the
or
building,
whatever.
right?
I know what you're referring to.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
access for
right.
a handicapped
we do
person.
it for we're doing it for them, but no handicapped people live in the building.
That's not the case though. I see handicapped people all the time.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is like, regardless of whether there's handicapped people in the building, the idea that we have to build specific ramps for like less than 1% of the population in the United States, right? Like, we care that much to go out of our way to say, okay, we're gonna build these ramps for them. So why don't we go out of our way for the people who are like, immunocompromised, to say, hey, like, let's build, fucking a separate place for them? Is that too far? Too outrageous to say let's separate people who are immunocompromised, vaccinated, and unvaccinated? Like, that's what I don't want. Like,
I don't-
fear that you can't, like, you're delegated to a group, right? Because you're not vaccinated, you're vaccinated, or you're handicapped and you're not able for whatever reason.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's been happening for a while now. The delegation of groups. I mean, look at the Trump era, right?
the
Because
MAGA
that's
thing.
what it was. It was an era.
It was an
Yeah,
era.
it
Yeah,
did.
that shit
Like-
was cool.
See, I don't agree with
Bro,
that.
that shit was
But it
cool.
was an era.
Look.
And if you disagree, then
No.
I don't know.
People
That's
know
an
it was an
interesting
era.
one.
No one. It's hard to believe that a man who like publicly like discredited so many people, grabbed women by the pussy, literally got away with sexual harassment,
Right.
and just did a bunch of shit,
Right.
and got away with it. Insane.
I mean, no political background whatsoever,
True.
and became
no
the
political
president.
background, and became
That part to me, that's actually really impressive. How he did it. I think that's
populist,
also
yeah.
pretty damn impressive. How he went to the inner states and campaigned there rather than like the really big ones, and he won off of that, right? And then you could go, well, he won because of the Russians or whatever, and I don't know.
And check it.
It's an interesting.
Yeah, and just to
it's
kind of finish
interesting.
it off, this guy is raising money through people a lot faster than some of his Republican, cohorts.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them like are now like realizing, man, this guy might run again, and he might just win. Guys, we're gonna wrap it up because we're going to a Dodger game.
Going to a Dodger game.
Hey, remember how we complained? If anybody who watches the show consistently, I complained about wanting to go to a Dodger game, and because you can't go unless you were vaccinated or whatever. But now you can go.
Yep.
You just have to wear a mask, regardless of you're vaccinated or not.
Wait, I have to wear a mask the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's trash.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying, bro?
Well,
guys,
I mean, at
don't-
least
don't
at least I don't have like a beard shape or nothing.
That's true. They're gonna call in the terrorist.
What?
They're gonna call in a terrorist threat.
All right, y'all.
A domestic terrorist threat. Look at me. All right,
On
guys.
that note,
We'll
y'all
catch you
have
guys
a
next
good
time.
one. Peace
Peace.
out.